The story begins with the Carters and the Morgans reluctantly thrown together at a long-standing community event in their small American town, the kind of gathering where everyone shows up, even if they'd rather not. 4 years, the Carters and Morgans have carried bad blood, their history defined by class differences, personal slights, and unhealed betrayals. The Carters, proud of their working-class identity, carry themselves with resilience, rooted in values of loyalty and survival. The Morgans, on the other hand, embody wealth, status, and influence, their arrogance sharpened by the knowledge that they hold power in the town. Olivia Carter enters this environment like a storm contained in human form. She is young, sharp-tongued, and deeply protective of her family's honor. Her simmering resentment has a personal foundation. Her father once lost his job at the factory due to Morgan family interference, and the wound never healed. This context makes the gathering a powder keg waiting for a spark. The air itself seems charged with unspoken hostility as Olivia spots Ethan Morgan across the room, his smirk practically daring her to strike first. The opening image draws readers immediately into a world of division, two families sharing space, neither willing to give an inch, the tension thick enough to cut with a knife. The spark ignites when Ethan Morgan, the eldest son and embodiment of the family's arrogance, provokes Olivia with a casual remark dripping in condescension. His words may be subtle, but they cut deep, and Olivia, unwilling to be silenced, fires back with equal venom. Their exchange quickly escalates into a full-blown verbal battle, drawing the attention of everyone in the room. Ethan, with his polished charm and biting wit, thrives in this kind of confrontation, while Olivia, raw and unfiltered, fights with passion born of years of bitterness. For the Carters, Olivia's defiance is a point of pride, a refusal to let the Morgans walk all over them again. For the Morgans, it's an insult, an open challenge to their untouchable reputation. Old wounds are ripped open in front of their neighbors, and whispers ripple through the crowd. It isn't just about Olivia and Ethan anymore, it becomes a symbolic clash between two families who cannot see eye to eye. The energy of the moment is heated, tense, and magnetic, the perfect opening conflict that lays bare the personal stakes of this rivalry. Olivia's fiery words echo long after the moment ends, painting her not only as a fighter but as someone willing to stand up to the oppressive influence of the Morgans, even if it isolates her further. Later that evening, after the public clash has left her shaken and angry, Olivia steps outside into the cool night air to catch her breath. The noise of the event fades into the background, replaced by the chirp of crickets and the distant hum of small-town life. It is in this quiet, liminal space that Daniel Morgan, Ethan's younger brother, appears almost by accident. Unlike Ethan, Daniel carries himself with quiet intensity, reserved, thoughtful, and artistic. His presence is a stark contrast to his brother's arrogance. Their eyes meet, and in that moment, the hostility of their families seems to melt away, leaving only two young people who recognize something kindred in one another. Their brief exchange is subtle but electric, filled with unspoken curiosity and forbidden longing. They speak cautiously, aware of the invisible boundary lines that divide them, yet unable to deny the pull of connection. For Olivia, Daniel is unexpected. He doesn't fit the mold of the Morgan arrogance she despises. For Daniel, Olivia is refreshing, bold, unafraid, and unlike the shallow social circle he knows too well. This fleeting moment becomes the powerful hook of the story, two people caught in a rivalry not of their making, drawn together in a way that promises both danger and possibility. By the time they part, the tension between attraction and family loyalty has been planted firmly, setting the stage for a forbidden connection that could either bridge the divide or tear both families apart. Olivia Carter's life is defined by struggle and sacrifice, the kind that hardens a person before their time. Ever since her father lost his job at the factory, a job he'd worked faithfully for decades, the Carters have lived under the weight of financial insecurity. Their modest home carries the strain of overdue bills and cut corners, the quiet despair of a family doing its best to survive while never quite making ends meet. Olivia, though only 20, shoulders far more responsibility than most her age. Her protective older brother, James, looms over her life like both a shield and a prison guard. At 24, James embodies fierce loyalty to his family but channels it into hostility toward the Morgans, whom he blames for everything that went wrong. He sees himself as Olivia's guardian, convinced it's his duty to keep her safe from outside influence, especially the Morgans. For Olivia, his protectiveness feels suffocating, a constant reminder that her choices are not her own. Trapped between family loyalty and her own yearning for independence, she dreams of something beyond grudges and small-town bitterness. Deep down, Olivia longs for love and freedom, for the chance to be seen as more than just a Carter caught in an endless feud. Her simmering resentment toward the Morgans is real, but it coexists with an equally real hunger for a life untouched by their shadow. That inner conflict, duty versus desire, is what makes her vulnerable when Daniel enters her orbit. Daniel Morgan's life, on the surface, appears enviable: wealth, influence, and the powerful Morgan name. Yet beneath that polished veneer lies quiet suffocation. He lives in the shadow of his older brother, Ethan, the golden boy, charming, ambitious, and ruthless in all the ways their parents admire. Daniel, by contrast, is introspective, gentle, and artistic, with a heart drawn to painting and sketching rather than boardrooms and balance sheets. But in the Morgan household, individuality is a flaw, not a gift. Their parents exert constant pressure on him to follow Ethan's path, insisting that he uphold the family's legacy of dominance in business and politics. Every dinner table conversation reinforces the same theme: power, appearances, control. For Daniel, this obsession with status feels like a cage, trapping him in expectations that crush his spirit. He suffers quietly, hiding sketchbooks under his bed, pouring his frustration into art that no one in his family would ever understand. In this suffocating world, Daniel's yearning is simple: to be free to define himself, to love and create without the weight of Morgan arrogance on his shoulders. The irony is that the very name that opens doors for him is also the shackle keeping him from living authentically. Meeting someone like Olivia, someone raw, unpretentious, and defiant, offers him a glimpse of the freedom he has always craved but never dared to reach for. What makes the Carter-Morgan feud so potent is that it isn't built on vague class resentment but on a very real betrayal. Years ago, Ethan Morgan spread lies that ruined Olivia's father's reputation, leading to his dismissal from the factory. The Carters never recovered, financially, emotionally, or socially. This betrayal hardened Olivia's distrust of the Morgans into a generational wound. For her, hating the Morgans isn't just about pride, it's about justice. For Daniel, this legacy of deceit is part of the burden he carries, though he wasn't directly responsible. The rivalry forms an invisible wall between him and Olivia, yet it also fuels the intensity of their connection. A stolen glance across a crowded room, a fleeting conversation that feels more honest than anything in their daily lives, or even Daniel secretly sketching Olivia from memory, these subtle moments become the seeds of something forbidden yet inevitable. Their attraction is not just about romance, it's about rebellion against the worlds that confine them. Each interaction foreshadows the storm to come, where personal longing will clash with family loyalty. Both characters find themselves standing on the edge of a line they were never supposed to cross, pulled by a force they can neither ignore nor explain. The impossibility of their love is precisely what makes it so magnetic, and this section grounds that tension in history, family dynamics, and unspoken dreams. The inciting incident begins not with a dramatic showdown, but with a quiet, almost ordinary moment that alters the trajectory of both Olivia and Daniel's lives. Perhaps it happens in the hushed corners of the town's library, where Olivia has sought refuge from her family's constant arguments and suffocating tension. She craves silence, a space where she can breathe and lose herself in books that speak of worlds larger than her own. Daniel, too, drifts there for solace, sketchbook in hand, retreating from the suffocating expectations of the Morgan household. Their meeting is accidental, born of proximity rather than intent, Olivia reaching for a book at the same time Daniel does, or Daniel awkwardly apologizing when his scattered sketches fall across the aisle. The moment is charged not with anger but with vulnerability. For the first time, Olivia sees a Morgan who isn't wrapped in arrogance, and Daniel sees a Carter who isn't defined by hostility. Their first conversation is gentle, honest in a way that surprises them both. Olivia is disarmed by Daniel's sincerity, while Daniel feels a spark of curiosity at her sharp humor and unfiltered authenticity. This initial encounter plants the seed of connection, a fragile thread that defies the long-standing war between their families. What follows are small, secret moments that grow into something neither of them can control. Olivia and Daniel begin to cross paths intentionally, a chance walk after class, a brief exchange at the coffee shop, or Olivia stopping to help when Daniel's car breaks down on a lonely stretch of road. These encounters, though brief, become their refuge, moments carved out of a world filled with bitterness and pressure. With Daniel, Olivia feels seen beyond the Carter-Morgan feud, and with Olivia, Daniel finds someone who values him not as Ethan's brother, but as himself. Their bond deepens with every meeting, yet beneath the sweetness lies a shadow of inevitable danger. Ethan, ever watchful, notices Daniel's distracted mood, his absences, his sketchbook filled with unfamiliar faces. Suspicion flickers in his sharp gaze. Meanwhile, James Carter's protectiveness hardens into warning. He reminds Olivia that the Morgans are poison, forbidding her to have anything to do with them. The tension of secrecy intensifies the romance, every stolen glance and whispered word charged with the risk of discovery. It is this contrast, the hostility of their families versus the tenderness of their hidden bond, that creates a powerful emotional rhythm. The audience senses that betrayal is inevitable, making each quiet exchange more precious. The true turning point arrives in a moment of raw honesty, when Daniel finally voices the truth that has been building inside him. Perhaps they are walking by the river at dusk, away from prying eyes, or sitting in the dim light of the library after hours. His voice trembles with urgency as he admits, "I've hated my family's war with yours for as long as I can remember. You're the only one who makes me feel like I can breathe." For Daniel, the confession is both liberation and risk, a declaration that ties his heart to hers in defiance of his family's expectations. Olivia, torn between her loyalty to her family and her growing feelings for Daniel, feels the weight of his words settle deep inside her. She has every reason to turn away, the history, the warnings, the certainty of heartbreak, yet in his eyes she sees the same longing that burns within her. Her silence stretches before she finally admits what she has been denying to herself. She feels the same. This moment transforms their fragile connection into something undeniable. The forbidden romance is no longer just possibility, it is reality. The stakes shift dramatically. Discovery now means not just anger, but destruction for both families. The inciting incident thus becomes the spark that sets the story ablaze, ensuring that every choice from here on will be a dance between desire and disaster. As Olivia and Daniel's secret meetings continue, their connection transforms from tentative curiosity into an all-consuming attachment. What begins as cautious conversations becomes a rhythm of late-night encounters, stolen hours in secluded corners of the town, and whispered words that feel both dangerous and liberating. They slip notes into each other's hands during crowded gatherings, or leave them tucked inside books at the library, each message carrying the weight of affection they can't voice aloud. In these moments, Olivia allows herself to dream of a world where family loyalty doesn't define her choices, where she can love openly without shame. Daniel, for the first time, imagines a future that isn't dictated by Ethan or his parents, but one where he defines himself through love and art. Their secret romance becomes a lifeline, an escape from suffocating family roles. Yet the more they indulge in this fragile paradise, the more they understand the risk. Each kiss in the shadows, each whispered promise of someday, feels thrilling but also sharp with the knowledge that discovery could ruin everything. The intensity of their secrecy doesn't weaken their bond, it heightens it, turning their love into something both beautiful and perilous. Outside their secret world, the storm gathers. James, already fiercely protective, begins to notice Olivia's evasions. Her late returns home, her distracted gaze, the quick way she hides her phone all fuel his suspicion. He becomes more controlling, questioning her every move, convinced she is hiding something. On the Morgan side, Ethan tightens his grip on Daniel, warning him about distractions and reminding him of his obligations to the family. Ethan's words are not gentle, they drip with threat, a promise of consequences if Daniel dares stray from the path. Meanwhile, the town itself becomes a stage for the Carter-Morgan feud to erupt yet again. A community meeting devolves into sharp words between the two families, their public animosity feeding the divide. Neighbors whisper, the Carters retreat further into defensiveness, and the Morgans double down on arrogance. Olivia and Daniel witness these clashes from the sidelines, their private tenderness standing in stark contrast to the venom displayed in public. This tension between what they feel in secret and what their families demand in public builds unbearable pressure.